What was the largest army of the ancient world? Even in the 20th century, the sheer size of an army often decided the outcome of wars. In the ancient world, when there were no firearms or weapons of mass destruction, numbers mattered even more. In the age of swords, shields, and bows, the side that could put the greatest number of warriors into the field often secured victory. Take the Vikings, for example. For centuries, no one in Europe could effectively resist them. And it is no wonder. In just one raid on Britain in the year 851 AD, they arrived with 350 longships and landed around 20,000 warriors. By comparison, even in the 14th century, the entire English army rarely exceeded 10,000 soldiers. The same imbalance is clear in the case of the Mongols. When Batu Khan invaded the lands of Rus, he commanded about 70,000 cavalrymen. Medieval Rus was divided into many small principalities, each defended only by a prince's mounted retinue, which rarely numbered more than 1,000 men. Even as late as 1445, Grand Prince Vasily II assembled his own troops along with those of his vassals, plus reinforcements from local commanders, and still managed to gather only about 1,500 horsemen. They were defeated at the Battle of Suzdal by a Tatar army that numbered just 3,500. Ancient historians, however, sometimes mention armies of almost unimaginable size. Paul the Deacon once wrote that Attila the Hun led 700,000 warriors into the west. Another writer, Jordanes, was more conservative, but even he estimated Attila's forces at 500,000 men. Roman sources speak of vast numbers of rebels: the Britons of Boudica, the Gauls of Vercingetorix, and the Germanic tribes who destroyed 3 Roman legions in the Teutoburg forest. The trouble is that these numbers were often guessed at, or based on rumors, so their accuracy is doubtful. The most precise figures come from Herodotus, the so-called father of history, who described Xerxes' invasion of Greece. He claimed the Persian king brought 1,700,000 infantry, 80,000 cavalry, and more than 500,000 sailors to crew his war and transport ships. In addition, hundreds of thousands of allies supposedly joined him: Macedonians, Thracians, Libyans, and Arabs. Herodotus even described over 7,000 women working in military brothels that traveled with the army. But could this possibly be true? In reality, the Greeks could never have resisted such a force. At the time, the total population of all Greek city-states combined was only around 4 million, and only half of them joined the war against Persia. Modern historians conclude that the Persian Empire might have been able to gather 150,000 soldiers for a short campaign, but certainly not the millions described by Herodotus. The 19th century military theorist Hans Delbrück suggested that Xerxes' army probably numbered closer to 80,000. Other great civilizations of antiquity, Egypt, India, and China, also claimed massive armies. The Greek traveler Megasthenes wrote that the Indian king Ashoka commanded 600,000 infantry, 30,000 cavalry, 8,000 chariots, and 9,000 war elephants. Yet, once again, ancient writers love to exaggerate, and the true figures remain uncertain. China perhaps came closest to fielding such enormous numbers. The first emperor, Qin Shi Huang, reportedly mobilized around 1 million people. But this was not a standing army. Most of them were peasants forced into labor to build the Great Wall. The actual number of trained soldiers may have been no more than 150,000. And even that was a huge burden on the economy. After Qin's death, unrest quickly followed, showing how difficult it was to sustain such an army. The most reliable example of a truly massive force comes from Rome at the height of its power. Under Emperor Trajan in the early 2nd century AD, the empire maintained 30 permanent legions. With auxiliary troops drawn from Rome's allies and subject peoples, and with the fleet included, the Roman army numbered around 400,000 men. This was an extraordinary force for the ancient world, and only the mightiest empire of its age could afford to maintain it. What do you think? Which ancient army impressed you the most? Do you believe the huge numbers given by Herodotus, or do you think they were exaggerated? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. We read every single one. If you enjoyed this journey through history, make sure to give the video a like and subscribe to the channel. It really helps bring more ancient stories to life. And remember, history is not just about the past. It is a mirror of human ambition, power, and mistakes. To understand the future, we must first understand the armies, empires, and people who shaped the world before us. See you in the next episode.